A sense of capital. Aloha, lads and gents. Welcome back to a new episode of A Sense of Capital Live Earnings. Your host of today, as always, is Julian, and I'm very glad to have you in. I already checked the audience, and I've seen that one user already joined and is now live watching the stream. Just started 3 minutes too late. However, just to give you information, today it's the 13th of August 2024. It's quite warm in Germany. I hope I survived this in my kitchen because Germans, you are not used that the weather and the summer conditions are that warm and strong, let's say like this. And today in my city here where I'm located, right more or less in the center of Germany in Leipzig, it was roughly 34, 35 degrees. I mean, depending on where you're located, it doesn't seem too much. But for white colors and not used to, let's say, exotic weather conditions, guy like me, it's quite tough, guys. But complaining on a high level, of course. Yeah, no doubt about this. However, glad to have you in, guys. And it's now in Germany it's 9:34 p.m. or in the US at Eastern times it's 3:34 p.m. So in roughly 30 minutes the results of the digital fintech, the digital bank out of Brazil, out of Latin America will get publicated in again 30 minutes. So I'm quite happy that today I started on time, but as you know, I'm always late in general, so I don't want to waste too much time before jumping into, let's say, a superficial briefing about this company and then go on with a little bit more details about the latest earnings call, my targets for today's earnings call, the recent developments in terms of the news which have been related to the stock. So guys, but before we jump in, a quick disclaimer as always, and that's very important because we're talking here about an earnings live stream and I don't want that I affect you heavily with my opinion and with this more or less entertaining session. So what you will see in the upcoming minutes is no financial advice, consultation or whatsoever, and there is no guarantee for correctness of the provided data. Yeah? So make sure you always do your own due diligence, evaluation, research process, and of course you do your own decision making because at the end it's your own money. Okay guys, that's it basically. And now I would say I share quickly the screen and we go on with the presentation. And I've decided to add some music today, some jazz music. So guys, I hope you can hear it. I will here and there checking the chat. Currently it's not can I somehow add it? Yeah, give me a moment. Maybe I can add the chat here to my record, to my streaming software. Or I will check it here and there. So guys, I hope it's just not the case that that the music is too loud. Let me quickly check. Maybe I joined the website for a moment. One more time, sorry for this short period of inconvenience, but I just want to check if the sound. Hi Lenny, welcome to the stream. Can you quickly give me a feedback if the sound is good in terms of my voice level, yeah, from the overall ratio? And in general from this, so Lenny is a German, I guess, or at least located in the German-speaking countries, and he's asking what I'm expecting from this quarter earnings. And I can already mention right now, so just the best basically. I mean, new is out of my 6 stocks, the one which is delivering in terms of their performance and the results most reliably. And for me, the major driver, as I already stated this video, new stock, Mexico becomes massive. I bet strongly on Mexico. I bet strongly on perfect. Lenny, thank you very much, man. Danke dir. I bet strongly on the driver Mexico. Yeah, that's the key for me in terms of really accelerating further the revenue. I mean, in terms of new, you always think, okay, how far can the story goes, and they always set up new highs, and it's quite impressive, basically. However, yeah, and I think in this case, to really set up the next driver, this will be Mexico. The management stated at the recent earnings call that they stopped a little bit in the past in terms of accelerating and rolling out the banking business in Mexico, and to make sure to really have the right go-to-market strategy. And now in the first quarter 2024, so last quarter, they re-accelerated it, and so I guess now really we want to see some progress over here, and that's for sure for me the major parameter what I will take a look at today for sure is basically really the development of the customer base in Mexico, and of course classic ones, top line growth, bottom line growth, but that's really the driver. And yeah, let's see what will happen. And of course, I mean, we're talking about banking business, and as you know, banking business gets always evaluated a little bit more different than other sectors. So I mean, you have the power to just basically, let's say, keep it simple, to achieve higher revenue by providing better conditions to your customers. Yeah, it's like other companies need to invest a lot of money in marketing or whatsoever, and by doing this they're getting more and more competitive, and they're creating more and more revenue. It's banking business, it's a little bit like this, but even stronger, I think, in terms of this aspect. So they really can control it very heavily, how much revenue they can achieve. But the question is always under which price, under which conditions they are doing this. And so, of course, next to top line and bottom line growth, next to the development in Mexico, I want to see that the standard banking conditions and parameters and KPIs of new are in line, are shaped very well, and not developing too negatively, let's say it like this. But guys, before we jump into the more details about KPIs and all this stuff, but good question, Lenny, and I like that you are participating in the chat, so keep doing this. I will here and there check the chat, but as I mentioned, I have a little issues with the chat function, so I need to use the classic browser for it. Before we jump into it, I have those for you, for those of you who are new to the channel, who are new to New, I want to introduce you to Nubank. So what is Nubank? Basically, Nubank is based on the subscribers, based on the customers, the largest fintech, the largest digital bank in the world outside of Asia. They have more than 100 million customers currently, and roughly 82% of them are active, so more than 80 million active customers. Where are they headquartered? The headquarters is located in Brazil, but they are active in Brazil, which is their primary market. Then the second one, which was entered roughly 4 or 5 years ago, is Mexico, and the third one is Colombia, which is quite in an early stage. Yeah, what means banking business? I mean, it's basically more or less the traditional banking business. You need to know that in Latin America, it's a little bit like in Southeast Asia. A lot of people are underbanked or not covered by banks at all. Yeah, they don't have traditional access to the regular legacy original bank institutions. And as far as I know, in Brazil and in parts of Latin America, the banking market is quite solid structured, let's say it like this. Yeah, the different shares of the banking market are addressed since years and years to, I think, 5 different large companies basically. And so it was very difficult, I guess, for people who didn't receive access to the banking sector because of whatever missing history in terms of financial stability or whatsoever, and rating this kind of aspects. Nubank is really disrupting this business by the digital bank, a bank which doesn't have any on-site stores, yeah, no branches or whatsoever, just digitally run. But really the driver was here the access through the smartphone. So you can keep in mind, or you can imagine that, let's say 25 years ago or even 20 years ago, without this kind of infrastructure of smartphones in the population, it wasn't that easy to roll out a business like Nu, or it was basically impossible. Yeah, but now people have more access to information, have more access to as well this kind of solutions, and so Nu took the chance and really did the first step in this direction, and really getting head to head or even overtaking some competitors in some aspects, as I already mentioned, for instance, when we talk about the number of customers. Yeah, and you can see they have this, or a part you can see it at least, but I can tell it to you, they have classic businesses, classic services and products when we talk about their solutions. So digital account, credit card, then they have additional ones, which is a little bit more special, as you can see here. So life insurance and mobile insurance, yeah. So, which I guess is a good catch in the market, otherwise they wouldn't do it. And then they have further services you can see on other products like personal loans and investments. So this is basically the B2C side, the business to customer side, and then they have a B2B side as well for business accounts, business credit cards, and new tabs. So basically a payment solution. Yeah. So we'll say they have in the core business very traditional stuff, plus as you have seen here on the first glance, some additional special offers, yeah, like insurance, mobile insurance and travel insurance. But actually they offer more services than that, but I will come later on to this. First, let's take a look on the stock, because at the end, I mean, today we cover in first hand the company, but on the other hand, we are all investors and we want to see that the development of the stock price is a good one and we are satisfied with it. As you can see, today the stock raised by almost 2%. One reason for this might be, of course, in general, the occasion that the call or the earnings release takes place today of Nu Holding. But another one is, maybe we share here quickly on investing.com, the screening of Inter & Co. Inter & Co. is basically a direct competitor, and next to one or two other companies, when we talk about digital banking, really the strongest one. It's as well, as you can see here, growing quite strongly. Not that high and long history is existing, but why I'm sharing this to you is basically just a few days ago Inter & Co. released their earnings. Let's share it here. You can see today it's up 5%, and the earnings here August on 7th, so roughly 5 days ago. And no matter if you talk about bottom line growth, so EPS, earnings per share, or revenue top line growth, both was a beat, even though it was not the hugest beat on the revenue side. I guess connected to the guidance, the outlook by the management, the investors are satisfied, and that of course creates a lot of tailwind as well for Nu. I mean, of course there are always both sides. You can see, or you can take a look and see it as a competitor, and you think, okay, that's not good that they're developing so great, but on the other hand, they are way on another scale. You can see the market cap is 3 billion, the revenue is 3.83 billion. Yeah, let's compare this to Nu. One moment. Here we go. Market cap almost 60 billion. Yeah, and the revenue. You can see the revenue, the annual revenue development, which is this year roughly or expected $11.3 billion revenue. Yeah, so really a whole nother level, and it's just regular that always, if there is a piece of cake and a lot of different players are attracted to it and getting founded and launched and rolled out. Yeah, so it's just a good sign for Nu that there's competition existing, because the business itself has a business case. And one more time comparing the results or showing the results with Inter & Co., one of the major and quite identical when we talk about services competitors of Nu. It's great to see they had great results in the past week. You can see strongly up with $0.6 per share. We hope for the best with Nu, guys. Yeah. So in general, Nu, when we look at year to date, it grew by 53%. It dipped as well 2 weeks ago. in the just market-wide developments, which all of you are very known or used to know about, I guess. So nothing new that I need to discuss this here. I think there is no need. But you can see it dipped quite strongly as well, but recovered really, really strongly. Honestly, guys, I missed to buy it. Maybe some information when we talk about this position. This position is my second largest position. It's my second favorite position after Hims & Hers. And second largest means it's roughly 15,000 US dollars. I'm up, I think, 170%. But honestly, it's a little bit for me a pain in the ass that I missed to invest more money 1 or 2 weeks ago. On the other hand, I am a little bit running out of cash, so I need to be very careful with it. And you never know what will be the outcome of this kind of situations. This time the market recovered very well, but who knows what will be the case in 1 or 2 weeks or whatsoever. And so for me, most important is that I'm not running out of completely access to money, especially if my stocks I'm invested in should drop further. But here's what you can see basically, so it's going quite well. When we take a look at the latest results, as you can see here, wait, I increase a little bit the letters for you or the numbers because I guess it's a little bit tiny. You can see on the EPS side, on the profit side, they sometimes miss or they just cover the guidance. So it's not the company, New Holdings, not the company in terms of profit, which are sandbagging, which setting the targets too low and they always beat it by 50% or something like this, like some other companies. So they are not this classic, oh, we surprised the audience. So if they beat here, in my perspective, it's worth something. Yeah, if they beat an EPS, it's worth something because it's really unregular, as you can see. However, on the revenue side, it's another story. So here, from my perspective, they're sandbagging, they're setting up the guidance and the analysts, the forecast a little bit too low in general. And so they a lot of times developing strong beats. You can see it here when we talk about the two recent Q4 2023 and Q1 2024 earnings results. Beat it one time with 400 million US dollars, so roughly 20%. And then 1 quarter later with let's say 50 to 60, 500 to 600 million US dollars, another beat of more than 20%, yeah, compared to the expectations. So revenue beat is for me a must, what I like to see today. Earnings per share beat, profit beat. Let's see what will be the outcome. Okay, let's go, guys, go on, because the results, maybe let me check. I always write down after the earnings live streams when the companies exactly release their results. And last time it was 20 past 10, but it was just the last time. Let's see. I hope we will have 30 minutes more because we have for sure enough content to discuss and prepare ourselves for the results. But maybe it's earlier. Maybe it's earlier and already in 15 minutes or something like this they will release the results. So let's go on. And I mean, when we talk about, guys, I keep a little bit the level of details superficial, and if we have later a little bit more time, I dig deeper. Yeah, but now I try to cover everything a little bit, and some stuff which is most crucial for me, like the KPIs for today, which I want to later on discuss with you, and which for me result in a verdict about this results. That is more important for me, which I want to focus and highlight today. Okay, so when we talk about the company, which is located in a foreign country, in a little bit more exotic country, I mean, of course, always depends where you are located, but if you are located in the US or in Asia or in Arabia or in Australia or in Europe or Africa, Latin America is a little bit more exotic most of the time. And you see here the currency exchange rate of the local currency, which is Brazilian real to US dollars. And most of the time in the past earnings live streams, I already mentioned it had some issues, as you see here, and it dropped since years and years and years. So the Brazilian real gets weaker and weaker compared to the US dollars, which is not that great. However, when we take a look in the past let's say 4 years, it's quite stable. But now, since this year, especially year to date, you can see it dropped heavier and heavier. Doesn't look too much. I mean, let's say 0.2 US dollar per Brazilian real, and now 0.18. But it's at the end 10%. 10% weaker currency affects a lot of different kind of dynamics in the market and with the market in connection to other markets, to other countries. So commercial exchanges and trade behaviors very strongly. So this is what you always need to, or what I at least consider, is that somehow currency needs to be stable, and what we see at the moment, it's not the case. However, one of the reasons might be that the Brazilian central bank already lowered the local rate, the Selic rate it's called. As you can see here, at the peak it was almost 14%, and then it was quite stable here. And since July, August, 1 year ago, they already started to decrease the rate, and now it's by 10.45%, so already decreased by 3%. Of course, it's quite high, but yeah, you can imagine that if they already start to decrease the rate, but the US, the central Fed, the central bank, which is called Fed, Federal Reserve, if they didn't start it, then the ratio gets a little bit out of balance, let's say it like this, between Brazilian real and US dollars. So I guess, or I expect, that there is a chance as soon as the Fed is starting to lower as well the rates, and it's not that unlikely, as you know as well, very likely, it's not that unlikely that in September they will decrease the rates. At least there are expectations by the analysts that might be the case. And then I can imagine this will have a positive effect as well on the stability between Brazilian real and US dollars, and maybe the Brazilian real starts to increase again more time. Yeah? However, I mean, when we talk about an exotic market like Brazil, there's always this bitter taste, let's say like this, in the back of your mouth when you think about, okay, political and economically stability. And yeah, that's reasonable, because of course there have been some events in the past, let's say like this, and developments in the past in those markets, in Latin America for instance, in terms of the economy wasn't always that stable, yeah, or there have been some political trouble whatsoever, some military how you call this, putsch let me wait one moment. I want to for sure check this word, and then I will never forget it again, hopefully. Putsch is called a coup or a revolt, a military revolt or something like this, which didn't took place that far or that long ago actually. So these are kind of events are of course a little bit more regular in those markets than in Europe or in the US, yeah. So that is what you need to keep in mind as well, next to the currency exchange rate, which much more, sometimes getting under trouble and under pressure. But you can see here one of the big rating agencies, Moody's from the US, improved the Brazil's credit rating outlook in the past in May. So right in advance of the past earnings results of Nubank, and that of course creates a lot of tailwind as well. I mean, look, to really change the rating of a whole country whatsoever, that's not a step which you do on the side without any facts, you know. It's not like some small analyst agency just changed the rating from buy to hold or whatsoever. That's different level here. So you can see here some good development is going on, and there are even further nice information. As I mentioned already, the second largest market out of 3 markets for Nu is Mexico, and that's definitely the market where I put the most potential and most hope in it actually. And you can see Mexico, the deglobalization winner of 2024, as you know, because of the pandemic period in 2021, 2022. A lot of supply chain issues and trouble was going on, and yeah, so a lot of companies decided to little bit spread more their supply chain capabilities around the globe and not position them all in Asia, for instance, in China. And this is what they're doing, or the same with Russia, with the war, for instance. And so, yeah, in terms of the US companies especially, Mexico for sure is a strong winner because of the comparatively low labor, good location, look positioning of the market itself. Between North and South America, and yeah, so quite close to the headquarters of different companies. And what I want to share is actually, you can see here in the past, sometimes Canada, sometimes China was the largest trading partner of the US, but right now Mexico is back on the top level. Even if it's quite close to Canada, it's just the case, yeah. So that's as well nice news. You can see as well here many different kind of companies, big players, GM, Ford. So a lot of automotive providers, automakers are positioning their manufacturing capabilities in Mexico. So that's great, and even some further companies, Samsung and Sony, as you can see here. And that's of course as well affecting the overall economy over there, and has a great impact as well on the income, the education, the access to information by the citizens, and as well of the motivation, the ambitions, the hunger for more. And these guys, of course, they love to have this access to banking business as well, to do business, to consume things, to invest money, and Nu is perfectly fitting into this overall development. Okay guys, what's next? One moment. So now it should work, I guess. Give me a moment. Yeah. So a few news I want to share for today, and that is basically, as you can see here, there was a flood going on in Brazil, and you see many people unfortunately died. Where it took place, it was more on the eastern coast region, eastern part of Brazil. But I'm invested as well in a payment company, in another fintech company, which is called StoneCo. Tomorrow I will back as well the earnings results of this company, which is located as well in Latin America and headquartered in Brazil. And they have strong access with all their payment terminals, which are located in all the different retail stores, restaurants, and a lot of different locations. And they mentioned they expect somehow maybe a quite compact impact, something like 5% maybe on their results. Yeah, lower revenue, for instance, just based on this event, maximum. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken. And so I guess they recovered quite well as well. And Nu banking is as well not affected too heavily by this floods, even though of course it was a tragic experience, let's say it like this. What I want to show you here is, for instance, the development of the overall company. You can see here July 2023, so 1 year and 2 months ago, Nubank announced that they reached 80 million customers just in Brazil. And basically Brazil at this time was more or less the overall market. And you can see here May the 8th, so 1 year after, they reached 100 million. Yeah, so 20 million more in less than, in less than 1 year. In less than 1 year, in roughly 10 months. Yeah, so that's definitely something what is not that regular at the end, what is quite special, and they really experiencing strong growth. The management stated that till today, even though I think, I need to check it later, but we will cover it together, I think 90 million customers are located in Brazil of Nubank. Still, every month 1.3 million more customers getting acquired by Nu just in Brazil. So of course they go getting closer and closer to the peak, because I think in Brazil 250 million people are living, and if you already have covered how many customers they have covered, 92 million currently in Brazil. Maybe today it will be 94 million or 95 million, let's see. But of course the peak getting closer and closer, and they need to get more efficient in terms of cross-selling, upselling, so selling more different services to the same customer and selling this services and these products more efficiently, so selling more of it, basically making more money with the different products with the same customer. That is what I need to keep an eye on. So that's the difference between Mexico. Mexico quite early stage. There it's really important to really create kind of footprint, brand awareness, create a brand reputation and awareness, creating trust to the customers, getting access to the deposits, getting access to the customers, so they are registering themselves as customers, and then they can roll out or set a higher focus on the profitability. And in Brazil it's really a high focus, of course, as well on revenue, but as well on really achieving profit, making money at the end. Yeah. But however, what I want to show you with this news is that how quickly they develop in terms of customer base. Some other good news, and guys, I'm not showing you just the positive ones. If I cross some negative ones, I share them as well, but most of the time it's more or less positive. But you can see here that the Saudi sovereign fund, the national fund, and another big investment house, SoftBank, out of Asia, very likely SoftBank, early investor in Uber, in Grab, in Tencent, all this kind of companies. A lot of good investments they did in the past. They decided to increase their investments last quarter into Nubank. Yeah, so they see here as well a lot of potential. And that's great because especially SoftBank, guys, I'm a shareholder as well of Grab. Grab is a little bit like a blend out of Uber and out of PayPal and Nubank as well. And that Grab company is located in Southeast Asia. I will guide and back the earnings results on Wednesday this week, so the day after tomorrow. And SoftBank, for instance, sold their shares simultaneously when they purchased further shares at Nu. So of course a little bit unfortunate if I'm invested as well in Grab, because somehow SoftBank seems to not be that highly convinced by Grab. On the other hand, they seem to be very convinced by Nu Holding, and I'm at the stage as well, for sure. And let's see some other services they announced just in the past 2 or 3 months. Yeah, what they set the focus on. You can see here they announced that now basically as a customer of Nu, you can work with cryptocurrencies. You can send and receive those tokens and coins. And cryptocurrency is quite strong in Latin America because of this instability in terms of political situation, economy, and of course as well the currency, Brazil real, for instance, itself. Yeah. So I guess that can be as well. Maybe it's not the biggest driver in a German bank, who knows? But I guess in Nu there is stronger potential. So maybe not even the smallest news at the end. Then what they do as well, you can purchase now tickets, airplane tickets, air tickets, and accommodations in the app of Nu. Yeah, so they're really increasing the impact and creating this kind of super app with a lot of networks and synergies effects between the different services and products and solutions they offer. So crazy as well, but why not? Why not, guys? Why not? And you see even further stuff they're doing. So Nubank, as you can see, launched the eSIM service for premium customers. So really for digital travelers, you get some kind of contingent, kind of volume for data utilization and roaming and whatsoever. So you have this insurances, you have the currency business, you have the classic banking business, of course. You have some more travel stuff with air tickets and accommodations. You have this eSIM stuff. So really some stuff is going on here. And you can see here they're pushing even further in international roaming. 45 countries are covered, 20 Asian ones, 25 Middle East ones. So, I mean, those are not honestly the first bank who are doing this. It's not their idea whatsoever, but definitely something interesting. And here you can see it's working out. So basically they're cooperating with a company which is called Chubb. And together with Chubb, they reached in the past quarter the number of 2 million active insurance policies just in Brazil. So when we talk really about this upselling and cross-selling, yes, it's right. There's only a a limited number of population existing in Brazil in their home market. But on the other hand, it seems like really they're digging and going for the full potential. They're even reaching out of their comfort zone. They really try to analyze and figuring out, okay, what is maybe not core banking business, but where we can get some money as well, make some money as well. Guys, I just checked the time, and I figure out it's already 10:07. So let's check out if the results are live. Okay, the results, as you can see here, I hope you can see it, are not live. Otherwise, in this column, the color will change. So let's go quickly on. The message of this is they are really increasing their business. You can see when you offer through they cooperate as well with Amazon, for instance, and during the Prime Day you get some 10% cash back if you pay through their solutions. And you see then different kind of players. You can see the Time magazine, which is of course not an unpopular one, Interbrand, so CNBC, a lot of different Euro Money, don't know them actually, but however, a lot of different companies and organizations rate Nu as really an impactful and influential player in the market. Yeah, it's not joking around. You know, they really have an impact on the lives of millions of people nowadays. Yeah, and I mean, Brazil or Latin America itself is not an area without a reason which is connected or which is categorized as an emerging market. Yeah, so 11 minutes left, guys, I think. And they do some other awkward stuff. So they're doing, you know, at some TV shows, House of Dragon, they are somehow involved in promoting it very heavily with some awkward stuff. And even, as you can see here, through some short movies, animated short movies, which I think was developed together with Disney, actually, they, on a very playful way, they try to raise the next generation of new customers and show them on a playful way what is money and what is saving money. And I actually never watched this movie. Yeah, maybe you did it and you can tell more about it. Look, but they really try to reach their audience. They really try to make it happen. Okay, guys, that's for it when we talk about the news. And now you can see already start sweating. It's part of it is because of the heat, but part of this is as well because of Nu, guys, for sure. But however, maybe let me check out if I can quickly check if there are any comments in the section. And I see 12 viewers are here. So guys, thank you so much for the big audience. I think that's by far the most when we talk about Nu Bank, a live stream of Nu Bank. So very happy to have you in. Ahmad, hi my friend. Yeah, I hope so as well that the numbers are good, but don't blame me if they're not good. But as always, I'm quite confident, otherwise I wouldn't be invested into this company. It's basically it is. But it's for me, I always invest in the mid or long term base. So even though the earnings for today are not the best, I very like if there's not some awkward black swan event and some awkward stuff going on, I always utilize this kind of situations to invest more money. Khalid Almirzoyev, maybe I call you Khalid, that's easier for me. Thank you very much as well for joining. And yeah, I go back, you're right. I go back, check one more time what is going on with the results. Oh, yeah, and they're live. Okay, guys, I prepared actually an Excel sheet, yeah, with the different result, what I want to enter, and which I will use to show you a verdict or make a verdict later on. But let's focus this not right now. We will check the results, go straight in. But I want to show you is just when we talk about the forecast and the actual EPS. So the forecast by the investors is 0.09 cents per share. And I expect a small beat, as I mentioned. So 0.1 US dollars per share would be my target. Let's see if they can manage it, make it happen. But more important is, I mean, I'm invested because of the revenue growth. It's for me definitely a revenue growth investment. And I like to see that they provide the beat and I want to see they provide the beat. Roughly, let's talk about $3 billion revenue. That's the target. It's a strong beat. You can see it here by almost $400 million. But why I set this on $300 million, it is more located to the difference between the absolute numbers between Q1, Q2, 2023. So here they developed by $250 million on revenue base, and I want to see the same development when we talk this year, Q1 and Q2, 2024. So one more time, 0.1 cents in terms of EPS, and let's say $3 billion revenue, and all the other numbers we will check later on together when we talk about subscribers and everything. Okay, let's dig into it. And one more information. It's very regular, at least based on my experience in the past quarters, that when new or when Stone Cold is kind of more exotic companies, when they announce their results, the stock is not always reacting that logically, let's say it like this, but okay, that is how it is. Okay guys, let's start, and we just take the earnings release. I would say, is it make it even a little bit larger maybe, yeah, so it's a little bit more comfortable for you guys to read it. 5.2 million looks very good, but hey guys, we don't go into the details. I want to first check the revenue. It's not that strong, this beat. That's not a strong beat. Look guys, here, as I mentioned, I want to see $150 million more this quarter, and it's just $2.85 billion. I mean, still it's a beat, yeah. Again, the forecast was 2.6 billion, so roughly $250 million more achieved in the past 3 months. But it's not the beat I like to see, yeah? So that's not too promising for me, but let's see how the market reacts. I would not be surprised if the market is actually satisfied with it, yeah? What is for me most of the time very interesting as well, the profit we check later on, but what I like to see as well. So revenue, we can tickle this box, yeah? It's not incredible crazy, however, it is solid. It's for sure solid, and it's not a weak growth, for sure not. But what I like to see is the growth in Mexico, and I think that looks good. That looks good. With 1.2 billion, 7.8 billion, what is going on with the numbers today, man? It was a long day, sorry guys. But with 1.2 million additional customers in Mexico, that's great. And 0.4 million more in Colombia, that's actually way stronger. That's almost 100% growth in Colombia, guys. Okay, but now we keep it very simple. So on first glance, for me, it looks very, very well. What I want to do now is I will copy and paste, to not waste too much time of you, the information into the sheet here. And then we analyze it together and go through the different numbers with a specific structure. Because otherwise I think it's not adding too much value to any one of us. So maybe I share quickly, give me a moment. So yeah, let me share the browser one more time. My notebook is a little bit slow. I hope the stream is not lagging as well. Okay, here we go. So first of all, we add the revenue. And again, 2.85 billion. So here we go. And I will add it here. So you can see it here. It's definitely a beat, but not as expected. This is what I need to make clear from my side. But I set the bar quite high always, but you can see the difference is roughly $240 million. Earnings per share I will add later on. And now we already start to go into this delicious details. Wait, I need to... me see. Now it looks better, I guess. Hope it's working for you. So now we will add different customer numbers, the customer counts to it. Let's go back. Okay, maybe some of them I already can remember. So Mexico was 7.2 million. Colombia was 1.3 million. And what was Brazil? So here we go. And Brazil 95.5. Of course, there's always something what you need to consider is active customers and in general customers, but this is what they focus as well and what we will focus in a moment. So however, overall registered customers is almost 96 million. So that's for sure a strong number. Let's go back at this one. 955. But check that one more time. And it was 1.3 million. There we go. Let's sum it up. Here we are. Here we go. 104 million looks good as far as I can see it. Okay, then we add some further numbers. And after, let's start with the subscribers. Let's start with the revenue. Guys, I always rate the different numbers in negative, neutral, and positive to provide you guys my opinion, my final verdict about this earnings results. And revenue, look guys, one more time, I expected something like the same difference quarter on quarter 1 year ago, and that's not the case. Yeah, the difference is just 50%. But again, one more time, when we take a look about the forecast revenue difference, it's 240 million. And when we compare this with 1 year ago, they didn't beat anything. Yeah, they just covered the expectations by the analysts and the guidance, and so this time this was stronger. However, I mean, honestly, if I have one tendency in terms of revenue, I would put it a little bit more greenish, a little bit more positive than negative. However, today, again, my target was higher, so I put it yellow. I'm neutral. I'm fine with it, but not more, not less. Yeah. And let's now check out the subscriber base. Yeah, subscriber base. As I mentioned, Brazil actually is not that important for me because I expect they just get closer and closer to the peak. Yeah, I can add this as well. They get closer and closer to the peak. But guys, look, really, I mean, here you see the year-on-year development in the most right located columns, both columns. Year-on-year development Q1, and they reached 22%, and now 1 quarter later 23%. So yes, the growth is decreasing as expected, but with minus 1.6%, it decreases on a very low scale. Yeah, and yeah, look. I mean, I would rate it positively if it would increase somehow, but that's so unlikely that it's increasing. So I put it in yellow, but here as well, I have more the tendency to go a little bit more into the positive way, because still 20% year on year, when we talk about a customer base of almost 100 million just in Brazil, and overall a population of 250 million citizens, is enormous from my perspective. Okay, let's take a look at Mexico, and you can see one quarter ago they increased by 106%. Now it's up 100%, or on an absolute scale it's 600,000 if I'm not mistaken. So that's not that convincing for me. That's not that convincing for me, honestly, guys. Yeah, I keep it as well on yellow to be fair, because I'm quite strict with revenue and with customers Brazil, and 100% is still amazing, but I simply expected a stronger growth quarter on quarter. Yeah, so here I have more the tendency to rate it negatively, straight as it is. But at least we have a little bit more positive news when we talk about Colombia. Last quarter, year on year, they grew by 50%, and now 1 quarter later by 86% roughly. So that's definitely green. I mean, Colombia, you can see the overall potential population is way, or the population, not the potential one, the population is way low with 62 million citizens. However, yeah, it's they had some struggle in the past to increase the customer base, as you can see here, just by 100,000, not even something here, and now 400,000, boom. Not sure what they have changed, not sure if they really did this on purpose and accelerated it with awareness. Yeah, if that's the case, great. If not, still great. But that is something which is strongly green from my perspective. However, it's quite simple when we take a look at the rating about the customer base, which is for me a very important aspect, important parameters. I rate it as neutral. Yeah, it's not that surprising to me. It's not that negatively, but I think things go very well, especially in Brazil and Colombia and Mexico. I expect a little bit more. But look, guys, if it's not this quarter, maybe it's next quarter that the beat is stronger. 100% growth year on year is still definitely nothing negative, and you just simply see, okay, something is going on over here, and that's great. You know, it's not, at least not decreasing or something like this, but of course that's very unlikely. When we take a look at the population coverage, I mean, guys, that is not something what I rate, what I consider at my rating, but just for information, as you can see here, in Brazil, they already, because it's a strong growing company, hyper growing company in terms of revenue, in terms of customers. So they're reaching this peak, and you can see in terms of Brazil, they're getting closer and closer. 44% is already covered. It's crazy. So there's not that much potential left. But Mexico and Colombia, and you see Mexico with 130 million citizens, strong potential. With Colombia with more than 50 million citizens, and both markets, a growing economy, is getting stronger economy. You have seen it with this Mexico deglobalization win or this kind of news. So that's nice to see. On one hand, that the share is growing, yeah, the coverage level, but on the other hand, there's still a lot of potential left. But now we go really to the core banking numbers. And I just want to share something. I checked the EPS, and as you can see here, it's 0.1 cent. So that's actually something very positive. On the other hand, I mean, it is what I exactly wanted to see or what I expected. But again, one more time, what I've mentioned is that forecast was lower, and they a lot of times didn't beat it in the past when we talk about EPS, yeah, and even sometimes missed it, as you can see here on February 22nd. So this is something what I like to see. Still, I rate it neutral. I know a lot of neutral rating. Oh wait, sharing the screen. Still a lot of neutral rating, but you can see it here. I rate it neutral because it's not that so surprising heavily, and it's just on my expectations. Yeah, just on my expectations. So so far, very solid beats, very solid results. It seems like New is simply delivering as every quarter, and that is already strong. That is strong. The expectations are high. My assumptions are as well high. And if I put everywhere neutral, it is, from my perspective, always a good one, because I have StoneCo and Alphen, so 2 of my 6 companies I'm a shareholder of. Last earnings results, for instance, I rated them straight negative. And in terms of StoneCo, a lot of parameters have been quite positive, but I'm very strict here. So if I rate it neutral, it's already for me a good sign, because I want to stay invested into the company and I don't want to sell it after this results. So you can take it positively. Yeah. But now again, one more time, we're talking about the classic legacy banking KPIs, and we start with the activity rate. So really, how many of their customers of their overall customer base of 104 million in total are active ones, because if only 5% are active, it's not worth anything at the end. So guys, let's go back to the browser, let's go back to the earnings results, and let's check out the activity rate. And here we are with 83%. That is something good. That is something good. It's better than last quarter actually. I'm not sure if they display it somewhere different. No, they don't do it. However, 83%, you can see it compared to one quarter, it's better, but it stays on a high level like last quarter ago. So that's great, because I mean 83% is not a joke. It is for me basically an indicator to show brand loyalty, to show how satisfied the customer are, to display this really. And yeah, guys, let me check one more time if the sound, I hope the jazz music is not too loud, because I just checking currently the streaming software. I'm at 2k euros. Yeah, hey, if it's not too much for you, that's great. Yeah, so for some 2,000 euros can be a lot, and I hope you are satisfied with it. Let's see, maybe we can check out. Let's finalize the numbers, and then I check out together with you what are the price currently after market, after the closing bell happened. But I can imagine that the market is satisfied so far with the numbers. But let's see. Let's go back. And I guess on the aspect that you at the chat are not complaining about the audio volume of the music, I guess everything is fine so far, and I hope you enjoy the music. Yeah, please let me know if you don't like the music. Then in the future I will think about switching it off and not activating it in the call. Okay guys, let's go back to we are here in the Excel sheet, and 83%, yes, it's not an increase, but it's already on a very, very high level. As you can see, they're already peaking and peaking, but they keep this level, yeah? So customers are not leaving, or at least they're achieving a lot of new active customers. So I could rate this green because the level is already that high, and rating it green would be very fair from my perspective, but so positive. However, keeping it on a neutral base is fine as well. Let's go on with ARPAC, really classic number. It's basically the average revenue per active customer. So here we have the active rate, and now is the question, out of this 83%, how much revenue they made out of each of those customers in the quarter. So guys, let's share again the browser one more time. There it is. That's a mistake, but guys, as always, if you like what you see here, please leave a like to the stream, to this video. Please subscribe to the channel. Please follow as well to the other social media accounts, X, Instagram and Reddit. Always appreciate it. And with more audience, it makes way more fun. So yeah, would highly love that you do this. Okay, however, let's go back and check out the ARPAC KPI. So average revenue per active customer. And I think they show this in a chart. And here it is. Oh no, that's the cost. APAC increased 30% year on year to $11.2 US. $11.2 US. Okay, let's go back. Oh, that is something what I don't like actually, guys. I mean, it's increasing year on year by 30%. Is that really the truth? I mean, if they're stating it, I guess it's the truth. I'm checking. Yeah, it's $11.2 US. So that's the first negative aspect, what I can immediately tell you from my perspective. I like to see that they're increasing the revenue per active customer very strongly year on year. Yeah, of course, if they dilute a little bit their high potential customers with customers in Colombia and Mexico, what means diluting? I guess they're not assuming this kind of product portfolio and solutions what they offer to Brazilian customers, to Mexican or Colombian customers. And so it's just reasonable that or rational that the customers can't spend so much money there, and new customers in those countries are not creating that kind of money. However, even though they're achieving higher customer base in new markets without a large product portfolio and service portfolio, I want to see it's increasing, and it actually decreased. And it's not, you can see it's not a seasonality. So last year, Q1 to Q2, it increased by 90 US dollar cent, and this time it decreased by 0.2 US dollars. So first red, no doubt about it from my perspective. I'm not sure. I can imagine that the analysts during the earnings call, they will confront the management with questions addressed into this direction. I think I've read something that other banks, other traditional banks in those regions, they're doing 20 US dollars or more per quarter with the customers. Yeah. So even though it's increasing very strongly, and that's great to see, it's comparably low. And I want to see it's increasing, getting closer to the competitors' RPEC. So however, it's, you know, as well, like at every business, there's the income, there's the outcome. No. Let's say that's the there's the income and the expenditure side. Yeah. And now we covered already the income a little bit with RPEC and with activity rate, but now we want to see what is the cost to serve each customer in the quarter. I think it's cost to, yeah. And so you see it's crazy low. I think the management stated it's 85% lower than the average bank in Latin America or in Brazil, in the established markets. So 90 cent is very, very low, and it's a little bit like with the activity rate. It's already on a high level, and if it's just they keep it on this level, yeah, so they don't need to decrease the cost per customer, yeah. If they can keep it on 90 cent, it's already a good deal. However, I would rate it neutral, but let's see. And here they are already strongly ahead against every traditional bank basically in Latin America. They're way more efficient. Here they really make the money in terms of the cost base, because they don't need to have areas, some bank counters and bank branches in the different areas in the markets. However, cost to serve, we already had it. Cost to serve per customer, and yeah, it's stable. That's good to see. That's great to see, guys. So we can easily go back. We don't need to leave too much words over here. They stay cost efficient. The management by themselves, their target is to keep it below $1 US. Until now, it seems they reached a very solid fundament of it. So one more time, activity rate and cost to serve are actually on a high scale. However, I would rate it positively, so color it in green if they would improve it. It's not improved, but in general it's already simply positive. Yeah, let's say it like this. It's just very strict. Now we take the last measurement. I mean, I'm not a banking professional, for sure not an expert. Again, I'm just a general investor, and those of you who are involved in analyzing companies in different sectors, they know that banking business, you can really, as the management, as the accountants, as the experts, you can play really a lot with the balance sheets, with the different numbers, and it's really difficult to analyze. And I just stick to the numbers. I at least understand roughly, as you see here. I'm sure you can, as a banking professional analyst, I guess you can make way more research and review all this kind of stuff. But however, what I've read is that net interest margin is a core crucial number for all banking businesses. Yeah, that's really, let's say, really it's like the key margin for a bank. Yeah, so we would love to see that it's increasing. Yeah, let's see what will be the result. One more time, going back to the press release and check out the net interest margin. And here it is, and that looks at least good. You can see here are the abbreviations. Is it correct, this word? However, so NII or NIM, and you see it increased. Yeah, increased to 19.8%. I guess that's really strong. That's good. That is what I like to see. So let's go back to the Excel sheet and put this into the foreseen field, text field. And I mean, look, 1 year ago it increased by 3.3%. The development was very, very strong, and then it didn't develop that strongly anymore. You can see even Q3 to Q4 it decreased. Sorry for the small numbers, but otherwise I can't cover all the different information here. And luckily it increased in the past quarters, but it didn't increase that strongly. Yeah, so I'm satisfied it's increasing, and again it's a revenue growth company. Yeah, that's their core business, and as long as that's working fine from my perspective, I'm happy. Yeah? So of course it should, as I mentioned, the standard KPIs of a banking business company should not suffer too heavily under those developments when we talk about expanding to new markets and reaching further customers in the existing one with aggressive whatever marketing activities. I think that's not the case. Yeah, something is going here on with the APAC here. We can read in a moment if you like what might be the reason, but I guess checking out later the earnings call, it's more interesting. And I will keep it as always, guys. I will provide in the upcoming weeks earnings roundup, so I will consider in this roundup as well the press release a little bit more with more time, the presentation slide deck. I will consider as well the earnings call, for instance, what the management has communicated and how the analysts reacted. And when you check out this stream and this information, this video, which I will again release in 1 or 2 weeks, I guess, I hope if everything goes well, then I will have an answer why APAC decreased, but on first glance it doesn't look good. However, last number for today is the default rate, and basically that is the major number, or you can call it as well the delinquency rate. That shows on different kind of time periods, time frames. When you look at those, what kind of percentage basically the new bank is waiting for the payments by the customers, so which they maybe even need to write off the money. Yeah? So the lower this number is, the better it is, and the lower the risk is that the customers miss to pay the money for credits and loans or whatsoever, and we want to keep it low. And I think with 5% and 6.3%, it's actually not that low already. And so I would really love to see it sticks on this level and it's not getting to 7% or something like this. That is what I really would like that new bank is avoiding it. So let's go back and let's check out if we can find it. And here it is. Okay. I want to say on the first glance that looks better, because as you can see here, I increase a little bit the size of the screen. Here we go. When we talk about 15 till 19 days, that decreased, but on the other hand, 90 days up, it actually reached those 7%. Yeah, so positive, negative. I can already tell you now, we will land on and arrive on a neutral ground here. So go back to the Excel sheet and add those numbers. So 4.5 and 7%. And when we take it really to a detail, that's for me red. That's for me positive that it decreased actually. But overall we result on as well neutral scale. Guys, it is how it is, man. It's not on purpose that they everywhere reaching a neutral level. Somehow it is how it is. It is how it is. One moment. So, okay, there we go. So this is how it looks. Not too bad actually, guys. Not too bad. Now, before I check the price, what is going on with the price of the company, I want to share my final verdict, for today. Man, look, guys, I prepared so many different slides. You can see here the slide of the latest Q1 2024 earnings roundup, and here I provided a neutral rating. And I always, since I'm invested in new, actually provided a neutral rating. I stated some information about the call and some highlights. So nothing too much to see here. What I've stated here as well is basically how I evaluate the company. It's 2 weeks old, this fair price multiplicator, but it should be more or less on the same level. It didn't change too much. Maybe with the new revenue today, of course. But what I want to show you here is 1.7. It's more a comparison tool between different kind of companies, different kind of sectors. Nvidia is a semiconductor company, PayPal is a payment company, a fintech basically. You see Himson Harris is a healthcare solution provider. So all kind of different companies, and you can see with 1.7 fair price multiplicator, it shows me that is not really cheap. The stock is not really cheap. Look, guys, this stock never since I'm invested since 1.5 years roughly. It's never since I'm invested the stock was cheap. And I guess as long as they will execute like they're doing it at the moment on this really reliable level, they will stay on this pricing, in terms of the company, in terms of the stock. So it's not the big bargain in which is so highly undervalued and where a lot of risk and a lot of chances are existing. I think the chance-risk ratio is very strong. However, in terms of price, it's not that cheap. But let's go and take a look on the major parameters of today. And now, basically, all the different numbers we have here, I will quickly copy them, not the numbers, but the rating. And I think, it's not that difficult to do because everything neutral, beside RPEC, beside RPEC basically. Very, very simple. So we can go here and activity rate, cost to serve was very good, stayed on a good level, default rate was good, growth rate was good, revenue was okay, profit was okay, even though it was actually a beat. However, APEC was 2 times negative, and unfortunately I consider it 2 times here. And so I have no other choice to rate this red, this one neutral, so the banking efficiency overall, so really the banking classic numbers. A growth rate, Mexico was neutral, Colombia was strong, in my perspective, really, really strong. So I tend here to actually, I keep it on a yellow scale, but almost would put it, let's put it on a neutral one. I think it's just fair. When we talk about a yellow and a green one, and even, however, Mexico wasn't. I keep it on the yellow one, guys. I keep it on the yellow one, really, because Mexico, I tend more to go into the negative side, so I push this in yellow. And so, we can see it on the first glance. Revenue and profit, top line, bottom line, revenue beat. For some of you, maybe a strong one. For me, it was okay beat, because they always beat on this level, and this time 240 million. Strong, not that weak. However, not that surprising for me. Profit actually was a very good one, but it was exactly on the level $0.1 US per share, like I expected it. So I keep it neutral as well. I'm really happy that they're growing the right direction, and they do this under good circumstances when we talk about their banking core numbers and KPIs. However, somehow really upselling, cross-selling is going in an awkward direction, because the average revenue per active customer decreased by 20 US dollar cents. And that is what I don't like to see, especially when we talk about the history, and it always increased in the past quarters. So I'm really curious to figuring out what the management is thinking about this development. And last but not least, the customer adoption. Mexico was okay with a more negative touch. On the other hand, Colombia was very positive from my perspective. And if I need to tint here, I would put it a little bit more in the greenish, but I keep it yellow. And so the overall rating, I guess it's not a big surprise after all the different numbers we have checked together, is neutral one. That's my verdict. That's my verdict. And so if, for instance, if the price should now drop tomorrow, the days after, it's not that unlikely I will invest more money because, as I mentioned, I was a little bit disappointed by myself that I didn't invest money in the past 2 weeks. However, as again, I don't have so much cash. I need to use debt for investing more money here, and it's very risky actually. So that's the reason. Okay, guys. However, we go now into the browser. Really, trust me or not, but I didn't check right till now the price. I expect it's up very, not that strongly. Maybe 2% up. But a lot of times it's 50-50. A lot of times I'm wrong. So let's check out what is going on here. I mean, I would love that the price getting lower so I can purchase more shares, because again, Nu is really my second favorite stock, and really with a gap between number 3, with a gap to grab. I really, him's by far my number 1. Then there's a strong gap between the first and the second one, which is Nu, and then there's another big gap between the second and the third one, which is Nu, and then comes Grab. And then afterwards, it's a little bit more, the density is a little bit more higher. All other 4 companies are a little bit more close to each other, but really Nu, I'm strongly convinced. So, however, a lot of talk, nothing said. Let's go to the price. I guess 2% up, and okay, it's 6% up. Hey, that's a good surprise. However, honestly, guys, I would love that the price decreased a little bit, because I really missed to purchase more stocks. Damn, Julian, that's not good. However, it is how it is. At the end, I make more money, or you as well. So I guess I'm at your 2,000 euro investment, or US dollars. I'm not sure what it was. Paid off, paid out. So that's great to see. So very happy for this. And hope they can keep the increase, the stock price increase till tomorrow. But honestly, guys, not that surprising. Now let me check quickly what are the first market reactions, and we do this by first of all checking on Seeking Alpha, which is a great platform where a lot of analysts are active, and they checking. Oh, I need to sign in, man. One moment, please. Stay patient. So I'm logged in. I quickly check out what is going on with Nu, and there are 2 comments existing, and the 2 comments are in 2 other messages. What it was a miss, it wasn't, as rightfully said here. It looks really good. The earnings line looks really good. That's what I mentioned as well. That 0.1 cent per share is, US dollar is a strong one. So things carry like it, but we'll see. Okay, so there's not, you see, not a lot of people are covering Nu, especially when we talk about the Western globe. However, they seem to be okay with the results. It's not that too strongly convincing. And now what I will do is I will check the feedback of you guys of the stream actually. And AS200, yeah, you already correctly mentioned it. Nu is up on earnings. Yeah, so I guess there's not so much activity going on in the chat, so I guess those of you who are invested are satisfied. I guess, guys, really, I'm not a banking expert, and I'm just a private investor. I want to make sure that nobody comes back to me and blame me for that you lost some money in the future or whatsoever. But what I want to tell is that I personally, me personally, I'm convinced by Nu, and I think it's always interesting to expand a little bit the horizon. And if you never read about it, never did research or whatsoever, I recommend that you're doing it and check out what is going on with this company. And maybe it's not now the right time to invest. Again, it was never cheap in the past quarters. It's always executing well. Of course, there's a reason why it's not that cheap. But maybe I guess it's really a good chance to put it on your watch list, and at the end to observe the pricing of the stock. And if it's dropping a little bit because of some, let's say, global market developments like two weeks ago, I personally will definitely use the next chance as long as I have cash on the side, or as long as I can utilize some debt to purchase more shares, because this company is just, for me it's a little bit like a no-brainer. Maybe it's too much what I'm telling here, but I'm simply convinced by it. I'm simply convinced by the management. I've seen really some interviews with the management. They are really skilled. The calls are so efficiently designed. They really answering the questions of the analysts with a lot of quantitative information, with a lot of data and details. They're not avoiding some question whatsoever and feeling inconfident or something like this, or acting not confident. So really the management seems very huge. The market is promising. Latin America has a lot of growth ahead from my perspective, and so I think all the different circumstances looking very, very well when we talk about new. Can only state it like this. However, the last aspect for today, I want to quickly share the upcoming earnings streams and companies I will back. So tomorrow we will go on with Stone Cold Stone, how the local people are calling it. So that's basically a point of sales terminal, payment provider, ERP, and financial service provider, as well as out of Brazil, but with a higher software focus and with a higher hardware focus. Yeah, so it's really a little bit more fintech than a classic traditional bank, at least based on my perspective. So I will start this earnings stream as well at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time or 9:30 p.m. Central European Time. And on Thursday, I will go on with the last earnings call for this week with Grab, the food delivery, mobility, and financial service provider out of Southeast Asia. So this will be a little bit earlier, 6:30 a.m. Eastern Time and 12:30 p.m. Central European Time. So guys, feel free to join those calls, and weeks after I will cover as well the European electrical infrastructure provider Alphen and the cybersecurity service and product provider Sentinel One out of the US. But this week StoneCo and Grab is next. Guys, I hope you are satisfied with today's call. I hope you will join as well for the upcoming calls. One more time, feel free to subscribe to the channel and follow me on the other accounts of social media. And guys, very thankful for having you in. I think we can be satisfied as investors for today's results. And yeah, let's keep it simple. See you next time. All the best. Take care of yourself. Cheers. A sense of capital.